was also quite curious about such machine elements as gear wheels and things like that, which the space people might use in their machinery. Again, I was shown pictures of gears which are of a type very much superior to anything which we have. Things that we could make if we took the trouble to do it. The gears, incidentally, run absolutely quietly, no lubrication, and as far as I could see, no friction at all. The bearings operate in the same manner as the gears themselves, so that there is no friction in the bearings. The power transmitting capabilities of the gears appear to be about the same as our own gears of high quality steel. The structure, needless to say, is quite a bit different. I think myself that we would have very little trouble building the gears with the materials that we have if we took the trouble to do the job and do it the way it would have to be done if the gears are going to work at all. I was also much intrigued by the information which they gave me regarding the television system which is used on some of the planets. The system reproduces in full color and with the brilliancy, which is quite a bit, a range in brilliancy that is, which is quite a bit better than our present black and white. The transmission system is somewhat different than our own in that it transmits not a carrier, but a reference frequency from which the time scale at the receiving point is established. The principles of color transmission are already known in our own basic physics, and we refer to it as the Cherenkov radiation phenomena. The method of transmission is that the reference carrier carries a small modulation which corresponds to the sound, and on one side of it there is a second carrier which races back and forth in the form of a frequency modulation to give the color rendition, and up and down in amplitude modulation to give the scale of brilliance. On the other side of the reference carrier there is another carrier which is frequency modulated to give the X and Y, the X displacement, and amplitude modulated to give the Y displacement for the spot position on the screen. The scan is random in that it does not follow a pattern of lines and interlace the same as ours does. It follows the structure of the picture in that it spends a great deal more time on the portion of the picture where the detail is the greatest and very little time scanning the background which has very little detail in it. The actual scan is apparently determined by a potential gradient established on the photoelectric surface of the camera tube. The system apparently is capable of operation between planets or between planets and spaceships which have different time scales, which is something we certainly cannot do with our own television system. In fact, we can't even do it with the radio. I tried it. We had an arrangement with one of the ships to try a radio circuit. The results were most unsatisfactory. We could hear their transmitter sweeping back and forth across our receiver, and they claimed they could hear our transmitter sweeping back and forth across their receiver. In view of the fact that the ships operate by manipulation of the electric, magnetic, and time fields, naturally anything which is located in the time field is going to be subject to the same variations as in field as the rest of the ship. And that would naturally be true of a radio transmitter, the frequency of which, being a time function, would naturally vary along with all the other things on the ship which were subjected to the changing time